Hello, and welcome to the UIC Career Services e-learning module about your first year on the job, strategies for success in your new position. So you've studied hard for the last few years, earned your degree, and successfully landed a job. Congratulations! Now you can sit back and relax since all of the hard work is done, right? Well, not quite. The first year on the job is critical since it impacts your salary, opportunities for promotion, and the ability to move to other positions in the organization. It's best to think of the first year as a transitional period, meaning that you are no longer a student, but not yet a full-fledged professional. It's critical for you to blend in with your new environment. To do so, there are some things you'll want to learn and others that you'll want to leave behind. First, let's look at some key ways in which the work environment is different from your college life. First of all, there are no syllabi or tests. This may sound like great news, but remember that with the absence of syllabi and tests, is also the absence of imposed structure. It will be your responsibility to manage your time and commitments successfully. No one will be standing over you, reminding you of due dates. Teamwork is the norm. You may have had the occasional team project in college, but the bulk of your college career forced you to be more autonomous. The work world is different and much more interdependent. If you see yourself as a lone wolf, then becoming an entrepreneur might be a better option. You're the new kid on the block. For good or for bad, everyone in the organization will view you as such. Remember that all eyes of the organization are on you. The work world is less tolerant of mistakes. This is not to say you will never make one, only that you cannot rest on your laurels. When mistakes occur, admit to them humbly and do your best to improve. The work world demands performance. When you were a student, you paid for the privilege to attend classes. The employer will view you as an investment, one in which they'd like a respectable return. Now that we've identified ways in which being a college student and being an employee are different, let's look at some ways in which the two overlap. Being a successful student who has just earned a degree, you probably already have these traits honed pretty well. Student and employee similarities are that excellence is expected, communication skills are critical, hard work is rewarded, promptness and reliability are valued. Let's take a test now, a flash quiz. You'll be taking a flash quiz toward the end of this module, but let's first test your knowledge beforehand to see how you do. To get started, answer true or false to the following, depending on whether you think these behaviors would make you successful in your first year on the job. True or false? Be sure to turn down low-level tasks that aren't in your job description. Avoid gossip and other office dramas. Strive for managerial responsibility within the first year. Follow instructions rather than debate your own point of view. Be sure to stand out professionally as quickly as possible. Strive to be on good terms with management, but others are irrelevant. Seek a mentor in the organization who can teach you about the culture. Interact with team members only superficially. You're there to work, not socialize. Expect to be treated the best in the first year. Own up to your mistakes and seek to do better. Okay, be sure to keep your answers in mind as you view the rest of the content. You'll be able to gauge if your own expectations about the first year are realistic or need adjustment. The basics, do's and don'ts. Don't think that you're above any assignment, whether it's database entry or making copies or even coffee. Remember, the bigger goal is to fit into the organization. Don't gossip about others and don't join cliques. Office gossips are intensely disliked, and the bad behavior tends to come back to haunt them in the end. It's good to be well networked with everyone in the organization. Strive for harmony amongst different types of coworkers and various work styles. Don't expect managerial authority in the first 6 months or even the first year or two. In other words, managerial authority takes a while to work your way up to. Rarely is someone promoted to that level straight away. Remember that your career is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't debate your point with the supervisor. This kind of behavior is highly valued in college, but it's definitely frowned down upon in the workplace. Following instructions is critical in your first year on the job. Don't make a big splash overnight. It's best to proceed quietly and learn how the organization runs before you try to stand out professionally. Think of it as the work equivalent of learning to crawl before you walk. Okay, now that we've got the don'ts out of the way, let's focus on the things you definitely want to do to make your first year a success. Develop relationships with coworkers. This includes everyone, including receptionists and other support staff. No individual is beneath you, but rather is part of what makes the organization run. Be willing to do favors for coworkers. This will help you to weave yourself into the fabric of the organization. Find a go-to person. This is usually someone who can help you get things done and to navigate the culture. One of your peers, but definitely not your supervisor or someone higher up. Get to know your colleagues. Try to find out something beyond the superficial about all of your immediate colleagues. This helps to build cohesion in a team. Adjust your expectations. Change your attitude and expectations to match those in your new environment. The job may not be as glamorous as you thought. Be humble. Acknowledge when you've made a mistake. Learn to take constructive criticism. That will make a better impression on your coworkers than trying to cover up your mistakes. Little things make a big difference, like showing up on time every day, being ready and willing to work, dressing appropriately. Know what's expected, understand your job and the employer's expectations. If you have a disconnect about expectations, ask your supervisor for clarification at the earliest opportunity. The sooner you're both on the same page again, the better. Seek help. Many organizations have mentoring programs, but you will need to initiate contact. If there is no formal program, you will need to seek out someone who can help you acclimate to the culture and chart a career path. Professionals do not have the time to come to you and solicit their advice for your professional development. Mentoring. When seeking a mentor on your own, look for someone you admire, someone with a good reputation, someone outside your department preferably, who can give you an outside perspective. Flash quiz. Be sure to answer these true or false questions to test your knowledge. Number 1. Most bosses will remind you of project deadlines because they worry about client expectations. False. Bosses assume you are mature and professional enough to stay on top of your own deadlines. Number 2. Your contributions may be made as a result of your individual efforts, but most work in today's workplace is a team effort. True. The majority of work settings today are defined by teamwork. Number 3. It's a good idea to befriend negative coworkers and gossips in an effort to stay in their good graces and to protect yourself. False. While it's not good to alienate anyone in the organization, it's also not a good idea to invest a lot of time in relationships with the office gossips. Remember to strive for harmony with all of your coworkers. Number 4. Supervisors have more respect for employees who can debate their viewpoint about how a project is completed. False. Following instructions is preferred in the workplace, particularly in your first year. Number 5. Anytime you are unclear about your role in a new position, it's okay to approach your boss for clarification. True. Whenever you feel a disconnect between yourself and your boss, it's best to approach him or her to make sure you are both on the same page. If you have other questions about how to make your first year on the job a success, or any other career-related topic, be sure to contact the UIC Career Services office. We're located in the Student Services Building on the corner of Harrison and Racine, right across the street from the UIC Pavilion. We look forward to seeing you.